All right, Rob. So let me ask you a question.
Yo.
How do you know when you like her? When you really like her?
Man.
Simple question today. I know my answer.
What's your answer?
I know I really like her when she's the first thing I think about when I wake up. When I wake up and you know, of course, thank God for another day. But when I wake up and I'm like, okay, let me send a message, or I'm looking for her message when I wake up, or last person I think about when I go to sleep. I know that sounds cheesy. I know people say that's cheesy, but that's real for me. Like if because I have so many things on my mind, I got so many things I'm processing.
Yeah.
I know that if you take that mental space, if you figured out a way to grab a piece of my mental, that's how I know I really like you.
The broad answer is when you're a priority.
Mm-hmm.
In the greatest sense, or even in the smallest sense. Like, you know, everybody has lines of effort through their day, right? But like, if the time passes an hour and you ain't heard from me, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like that, you know. And I look at my phone, I ain't heard from you. Like, somebody need to be reaching out to somebody. And mostly, like, if you ask if I like a person, you know, how do you know if you like them? Is because every hour on the hour I'm looking to hear from you to a certain degree, without it being like weird. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then the other thing,
Not in a controlling way.
Not in a controlling way.
Not in an overly obsessive way.
I'm just thinking about you. And then the other
I
thing,
think we both talked about it before, though. We don't like long spaces of not having communication.
Yeah. And then the other thing I'd say is, you know, when I tell you my dreams, if I trust you enough to tell you my dreams, notice I said my dreams, because we all complain about things to a certain degree, you know, in a space, right? And so me telling you something that made me mad throughout the day, because I'm not really worried about it like that. I'm not going to carry it like that. After I say it, it ain't going to, you know, it's not going to live with me any longer. But my dreams live with me.
Yeah.
I wake up to my dreams. I think about my dreams. I go to bed to my dreams. And so if I trust you enough to hear my dreams, I like you.
Don't mess around. Let me tell you my dream, and you start dreaming with me.
Oh man.
Watch it. You gonna make me fall in love. You want this ring now, later? But remember we talked about that in church though. Like you know, that's somebody when you know connected is like when I'm telling you, hey, this is what I'm thinking about, and you're like, yo, go do it. I can see you even doing da 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 da. I love that. I feel like that's when we're clicking. We're on cylinders.
Another layer to what you asked though, because you talked about, you know, how do you know when you like someone? Let's take it to another space. What are the things that make you like that person? And I can tell you, for me, it's when you're being what I need you to be, not what you think I need. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't need you to be anything other than, you know, and then ask me what I need. You know, I think you talk about all the time, what are you able to receive right now? Mm-hmm. Ask me what I need. And then let's find out if it's conducive for our relationship. Because what I will tell you is, if you give me a whole bunch of things that is not what I need, I think we talked about it before, that's giving me everything and nothing all at the same time.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? And so, okay, here it is. And so now when we have that first, you know, healthy discussion, and it's like, okay, you don't do nothing for me. And I have to think about that. Is it that you don't do nothing for me? Or is it you're not doing the things that I need from you relationally? Mm-hmm. There's a difference, because you could be doing everything and I'm like, but that's not what I asked you for.
Yeah. So you better careful. You if you're not careful, you'll be out. That's why it's always important. I know people think it's cheesy to ask somebody, hey, what's your love language? What speaks to your heart, and what way do you hear? And I think that's important, because if you're not careful, you're buying somebody a car that they just want you to take out the trash.
But rest in that for a little bit, Rayshawn, because I think nowadays asking someone what their love language is, it's because it's so common. I don't think we don't give it enough value anymore.
Well, I think you got to ask in a way to get the details of it.
And that's what I was saying. I think the question that we've progressed to, what are you willing to receive? What can you give? I think that gets to a space of a person not being trapped inside the 4 categories or 5 categories that a book says the love languages are. Yeah. Because it could be affirmation, but it could, but at the same time, affirmation don't mean I need you to, you know, it could simply be like, you look nice today. It don't have to be no long text.
Well, can I be in truth?
You know what I'm saying?
You got to ask the person what are they willing to receive right now? What are they able to receive right now? Because if we're honest, that love language changes.
Yes.
It shifts throughout the year. It shifts throughout the years. It shifts
throughout the day.
Through the relationships. It just shifts. So right now you may, because you were just in something where you weren't affirmed, this relationship you're in, you need affirmation. Yeah. You probably were in something where you weren't touched right, or you didn't feel touched. So you may want touch, or you may not want to be touched too much. Yeah. So all those things are important to ask, like, hey, what do you want to receive? Like, what are you willing to receive right now? Yeah.
And I just think that question is more, it's more detail oriented. I think it gets past the layers of, like I said, the book was a phenomenal book for that time. But just like you said, the love language has changed. Life progresses. The mind progresses, right? The heart progresses, and I just think that relationships require more than some categories to determine what it is that we need for a healthy relationship.
Because mine have changed. Yeah. When I first read the book, when I first was going through the whole love languages, I knew what I thought it was. Yeah. Now we won't even get here. Like, what's our love language? I guess I'm gonna ask, what's your love language? I'm gonna say mine. Mine is physical touch and words of affirmation. Affirm me and touch me at the same time. Touch me and affirm me. But here's why. I really have top 3, but I can say top 2 and it cover the other one. Because the only way you can touch me is if you're with me, so I got your time anyway. So it's really words of affirmation, physical quality time. But I'll just say those 2. That's for me.
So I made up one.
How you gonna make up 1 out of 5?
I've been introduced to this concept called spatention.
Spatention?
Yeah.
What is special attention? What is that?
No, I need space and attention all at the same time.
Oh my God.
I don't want to be alone, but I don't want to be. I want to be alone, but I don't want to be by myself. And so I guess that would, if I had to put it up under a category, it would be physical touch, because sometimes I just want to know you're in the room. I just want to know you're available. I just want to know if I'm walking away from something I'm doing constructively, I can just walk in there and give you a hug, give you a kiss.
Yeah. I said that to somebody before. I was like, well, you ain't got to, that's not always sexual.
Yeah.
It don't mean we got to always be right up on, if I'm sitting in my office, sitting on my chair, you walk by,
I'm smacking
rub your hand across my back, rub your hand across my shoulder, quick peck, you know what I'm saying? Those things like that are so simple. If we land on the couch, you may be on that side of the couch. Put your feet on my arm, on my leg. Put your feet right there.
Listen, it's simple. It's priceless and simple.
Yeah.
Like there's no price tag on that. You know what I mean? And so, and that's where it kind of, again, it goes into the love me in the way that I need to be loved, because I could say physical touch. That don't mean touch me all day.
Yeah.
And that doesn't also, let me be balanced, because we have to make sure that we don't need love and we give love from a selfish space.
Yeah.
Okay. So if I say physical touch, and then what you heard from that is, okay, touch me all the time, then we just have to have a mature conversation that allows us to have balance into what that looks like.
Yeah.
And so I think that's with every love language. I think, which is why I said your question gives us more revelatory depth into what we really need relationally, because that just does physical touch. Okay, it's the top layer, but what does that really mean? What are my hot spots? What are my no zones? You know what I mean? What are the things that trigger me? What are the things that, alert me a little bit? What are the things that get me in the mood? So I think that conversation, it just needs to be had in a more level of depth that really breeds healthy relationships, man. And I think when you don't have that level of depth in the conversation, it comes up too late in the relationship. Yeah. And there may be some things of normality that you've built that you may not be able to recover from, restore, all that kind of stuff. I'm all about learning my partner early.
Rob, I was literally just about to say that to you. My partner early. I said I'll ask a whole bunch of questions in the beginning, just so I got answers to stuff. I'll ask. I'll ask sexual questions. Not saying we're about to have sex. I'm just asking questions so I know kind of where you are, what reality you're like. Where I want to know. Hey, what are your turn-ons? What are your turn-offs?
Yeah.
What you just said was a key one. What are your hot zones? What are your don't touch me here? Don't do that, because some people you got to ask that question, because in reality you don't know what people have been through. Right. You don't know what makes them uncomfortable. Yeah. And I don't want to do something that's in my mind simple, but in you it reminds you of hurt. It reminds you of something that did wrong to you. But yeah, I've been known to. I'm trying to know everything about you in the first 2 business days.
Yeah,
I need to know who, what, when, where.
And you said this was going to be a short, but it's going somewhere. Shout out to Pastor Keon Henderson. How do you know when you like someone? How do you know when the relationship is good? I love what he talked about earlier this week. He talked about the different frames of a relationship. He talked about the A-frame, and so when you have your hands up, I'll put that in the video so that they can see that. When you have the A-frame, it talks about how if you're unbalanced, one can lean too much on the other. He talked about the H-frame, and what that suggests is that when you're in the H-frame and you're both holding, at the point when y'all are brought together, like make an H real quick, grab my hand, like that's considered like the H-frame. See what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
And so it's like a tug of war. Now it's a level of competition if the opportunity presents itself. But then it's the M frame, and so that's when they're holding hands side by side, and they're talking about how each person is balanced. Each person has a space within themselves where they love themselves. They have priorities, and those things just align and they touch the right way. I say all that to say a thing that makes me love or like a person is when they're ready to be in a relationship the healthy way. I said a lot just to get to that. Like, healthy characteristics come out really fast.
Yeah.
Unhealthy ones come out really fast.
I'm about to say toxic ones come out quick too.
They come out really fast, and so we
just don't be looking for them, or we think the red flags and we think they're orange. That's the problem. But
yeah.
Go ahead.
So I mean that's the thing, and I'm not here to say. And this is the thing. There's times in relationship where we can be A frame minded, where we can be H frame minded, or we can be M frame minded. And I don't say that to say, oh, I know how to operate solely in the M frame. I don't. Because there's some days I'm triggered. There's some days I'm troubled. There's some days I'm reminded. Yeah. I just understand those frames now thanks to that conversation that he had. Yeah. And it just gives me something to think about, cause to pause.
We won't always operate in the M frame. I think the strength is knowing how to get back to it.
Yep.
If for some reason we mess around and get to A, we had the H tugging. Yep. How do we get back to the M? I think that's how you build successful relationships. I always say the strength of any relationship, of any friendship, is not how we handle the good moments. It's how we handle conflict, and how do we get back to common ground.
Yeah,
we friends. We just had to do it before we got the podcast.
Man, listen, let's let the people know what's up. Now we didn't got to go into the situation, but one of the good things, one of the good takeaways, man. Love Rhonda to death. Love my mama to death. Right. Dealing with conflict, I had to learn, just from past years of jack-ups. Right. You got to think further than what you're willing to see, or what you have the aptitude to see. And learning how to have healthy debate, healthy friction, and it be resolved in a healthy way. And one of the things I pulled, I'm getting somewhere. One of the things I pulled from having a disagreement in a healthy way is that if you're not really going to do something about a thing, you might need to keep your mouth closed, because that's how you get into spaces where you breed unnecessary spaces of forgiveness. I didn't even have to forgive that if I'd have just took some time, you know what I mean, to healthily go through deductive reasoning about, okay, what is it that you did that really made me mad? Yeah. A, was it worth it? B, can we recover from it? And am I in a space to where I can talk about it and it doesn't come off argumentative? You know what I'm saying? And so for me, I say that to say that happened between you and I, but how do we, if that could be applied to my relationship?
I ain't trying to laugh. Probably holding on to something for 2 weeks. Ain't said nothing about it. Just hold on. I ain't
talking about it for 2 weeks. But think about the skills though. And so just being totally transparent, they want the transparent conversation, right?
Yeah.
How many times, or don't name how many times, but you have witnessed a situation where I could have handled it better. And there's tons of growth from how.
Yeah, you did a good job.
Tons of growth.
I'm proud of my brother.
Yeah.
I'm proud of my brother. He did it. You handled that with a lot of, I appreciate you for that.
Yeah.
I appreciate you. But I think you handled the conflict well, which is where you know how strong a friendship or a relationship is, like how well it is. I'm gonna tell you something else. What I look for in a relationship is that when we disagree, I want to say argue, when we disagree, when we have conflict, how do you handle me?
Yeah.
How do you handle me when we have conflict? Because here's my thing. If I'm upset with you, and this is how I can tell where I'm at with a person.
Yeah.
If I get frustrated or in conflict with you and I no longer care about respecting you, and I no longer care about your feelings, that's when I know this really ain't got that much value. But if we're in conflict or we have a problem, and my first thing is, how can I make sure I get my point across and you still be okay?
Yeah.
That's when I know, okay, I care about this person, because I'm not going to ever say something in the middle of us having conflict to intentionally hurt you. And those are the people I'm wary of, when you intentionally hurt me because you don't agree with me.
Disagreement should never mean disrespect.
There you go.
Because it makes it makes the road to restoration that much harder. And at the end of the day, we can say we forgive each other all the time. But let's just be real. How often have you forgave a thing and still remember what it felt like?
Oh yeah.
And so we just got to kind of, in relationship, we got to find ways to minimize that. Because some stuff is just non-recoverable, bro. And listen, it's not always physical. You know what I'm saying? Because I was listening to a thing the other day, and she was saying, now this is what she said. I'm not saying I agree or disagree, but she was saying in relationship, she gives her body up faster than her mind, because my body, okay, it is what it is. But if I give you access to my mind, if I give you access to my heart, you now can live there without paying rent.
I'm not saying I agree or disagree, but I'm saying that's heavy.
Yeah,
that's a heavy thought pattern.
So she, wherever she was in that moment when she was expressing, you know what I'm saying. I'm sure it was, it was processed in a way that was healthy for her. But I kind of understand what she was saying in the frame of, okay, somebody was like, okay, well, you were involved with that person kind of quickly. Yeah, well, it's my body, but we put so much value in the thing that we willingly give away.
Yeah.
But if we protected our minds and our hearts a little bit more, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we would have less church hurt. We would have less relational hurt. We would have less, friendship hurt. We would have, because again, we give, you talked about it. I want you to recap a little bit about what you talked about in terms of having or needing new friends. Because the one thing, I'm just going to give y'all a little sneak peek. He preached a message called I Need New Friends. But for the folks like me that struggle making friends because my discernment can be a little off because I'm thinking with my heart and I'm thinking with my mind, the part B to that message, he don't notice, he's finding out for the first time today. But the part B to that message is going to be, I need new boundaries.
Okay.
I need new boundaries.
Teach them.
Because I think friendships are a thing, but when you make good friendships, when you think you've made good friendships and they don't work out, is it the person or is it the boundaries?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's good.
Is the relationship, is it the person or is it the boundaries?
Yeah. The big thing is finding out what those boundaries are and communicating them.
Yeah. And the truth of the matter is, I'm heavy now. I'm a little heavy. I'm a little nasty too. I can't say, here it is. Watch where I'm going with this. Watch where I'm going with this. I can't sit here and say I'm mad about a woman that I was physical with in my past. But I can say I've been mad about a woman I let access to my heart. I'm just being real.
That is true.
I can't think of a time I'm like, man, I
should. Because you can almost forget the body.
Yeah.
You can forget the body count.
Yeah.
But it's something about when you have my heart.
Yeah.
When you got my mind. When I'm thinking about you. When I'm caring about you. When I love you. It is a difference. It's a huge difference. And I'm gonna be honest. Until we just had this conversation, like this, I've never thought about it that way. But I think in reality, that's right on. That's spot on.
I'm just saying, like, I need it. I'm glad I scrolled my timeline just to hear that. But again, there's a space where, okay, I'm not telling you to not value your body. What I'm saying is that don't be in such a space where you give your heart and mind for like the 90-day rule. You getting all attached. Somebody done got your heart, your mind, but your body's on the back burner, but you mad about the thing you gave them up front. If you're going to give something away, But
this is crazy. I never thought about it in the way we're talking about. Yeah. But subconsciously, I feel like that's kind of what I've been doing. Even when me and you have talked. Because I tell you all the time, and I had that conversation with somebody up front, like, yo, if for any reason you feel like you're not interested or this ain't worth, let me know.
Yeah.
Don't have me overcommitting my thoughts patterns to you.
Yeah.
Don't have me overcommitting my heart and my feelings towards you and you somewhere else. And so in reality, I'm saying that.
Yeah.
Like don't let me get this mental and this emotional when you're just not there, because that is reality. I can get over some other stuff. I'm not worried about the other, that. But it's when I've sat around and thought about you, because here's where you got to be careful when you date or in relationship with creatives and visionaries and entrepreneurs. We can be here today, but our mind is up the road.
Yeah,
I'm right here in front of you. Yeah. I just met you. Yeah. We ain't been dating that. We ain't been talking that on dating long. I'm thinking, what does life look like with you?
Yeah.
And the more I date you, the more I start adding to what I think. And I know people are like, that ain't healthy, but it's just reality because you're creative, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
We're thinking about,
I could be in 3 places at once.
Exactly. I can be having a conversation with you and I'm having 3 other conversations in the back of my head at the exact same time.
Building a flyer.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So now the last layer, we weren't supposed to go here, y'all. But when you like somebody, when you find out what makes you like that person, like, how do you control the access? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? How do you properly manage those boundaries? What do you do with that? And I don't have an answer.
I don't have an answer.
You know what I mean?
The best thing I can say is pace yourself.
Yeah.
Pace yourself and watch how they move.
Yeah.
Pace yourself and watch how they move, and move accordingly to their movements. Don't go too far and too fast ahead of them. Don't move too, if they're moving at a turtle pace and you're over there bunny rapping trying to make that relationship work, slow yourself down. Move at the same pace they're moving at. That's the best answer I can give.
How do you control those? What I will say is that when you give access, you have to make a conscious decision, because as fast as you gave access and then you take it away, that's a toxic trait. You know what I mean? And so I'm not here to say how you should give access. I'm just here to say you should be sure before you give it. You know what I mean? And if you take it away, you need to be almost ready to keep it forever. Because at the end of the day, that's another one of those possible unrecoverable things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because now everybody's sleeping with one eye open. Now everybody's having the conversation with one foot out the door.
Yeah.
Now everybody in the situation is half-heartedly invested. Now everybody's trying to save a little bit for themselves.
That switch up is so hard for me. I told you before, I don't like when people change up. Don't change on me.
Yeah.
Don't give me a version of you and then decide all of a sudden you want to switch how you move.
And so just to kind of, not make it so deep, right? Even taking our situation, you know what I mean? I had to be slow to speak, swift to hear. You know what I mean? I had to, because we work together? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We literally spend multiple days a week together. You know what I mean? And so how do we recover in a professional space, you know, if you say something that's not recoverable? How do you recover from that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then the next thing is, you know, again, why create a space that you have to recover from? If you could just take the time to deal with that the correct way. You know what I mean?
That's good.
So I mean, I don't think everything has to, things can apply platonically. They don't always have to. And I think I think the way you handle friendships has a lot to do with, everybody say, oh, the way he treat his mama, how he treat, I want to see how you treat your friends too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to see, you said send me friends with resources. I mean, I need to see, I don't even need you to be a resource to me. I just need to see, are you resourceful to your friends?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, I think all that stuff applies. Yeah. You know? But
somebody said before, I think I saw it online, they were like, you want to see how a person really is? Take them out to dinner and see how they treat a server.
Yeah.
How do they treat the help?
Yeah.
And then and they'll say that'll show you kind of where a person is. I was like, I never thought about it like that, but that's truth.
Yeah.
That is extremely true.
It's some folks, man, I've been at stores sometimes, I've been like, yo, why did you say that to that person? that was not nice. You know what I mean? And so I'm stepping up next in line, they're looking at me, I'm looking at them like, yeah, that was not nice. You know what I mean? And now I'm on assignment to make sure they have a great remainder of the day.
You're right. But those things are true.
Yeah,
watch how a person treats their friends. Watch how they treat their family. If they're fast and quick to disrespect people close to them, their family members, and talk bad about their mama and talk crazy, what make you think you ain't gonna get that?
Yeah.
They're gonna do that same thing to you. You got to watch people
when they're not getting what they want from you. You know,
we said it before on the podcast. You know, you want to see how a person really is, see how they act after they don't get what they want.
So, what do you think about relationships where, like, do you think everyone needs to have something that they bring to the table in the relationship? Like, do you think is that healthy? Is that not healthy? And I don't even want it to feel like it's a tangible thing, but you know, I don't have an answer for this either. Make sure I'm clear about that.
I don't know if I feel like everybody got to bring something to the table. I can't remember who said it back in the day. It was before the love language. I remember that. The 80-20 rule.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I'm bringing 80, you bringing 20. Sometimes I'm bringing 20, you bringing 80. Maybe if they don't bring what you're bringing, I think they got to have the capacity to be there in the moments that you got to bring 20.
So I don't think that everyone should bring something to the table, but I think everyone needs to get something out of the deal.
Yeah.
And I think those conversations are different because, you know, when you start talking about somebody bringing something to the table, now we start measuring and now we start saying if something's bigger or greater than someone else's contribution. So I don't know if it's contribution so much.
This is going to be a whole nother podcast because I just got a thought out of this, but I don't want to talk about it on this. We got to talk about another. Because when you're saying what you bring to the table, we got to. I understand where you're saying we don't want to quantify it and don't want to be a number or measured, but in reality, what if we're dating and getting to a next place? What are we bringing to the table? And for so long, you know, we get confused because the first part, if I bring good sex, I brought something to the table. No.
Yeah.
It got to be more than that.
Yeah.
You got to, but I don't want to do that on this podcast.
I don't even think sex should count, but all right, go ahead.
We got to save this. This is a good conversation. I want to save it. I want to expand on that on another one because that's a good conversation to have.
All right, y'all. We're gone. Hey, yo, for more content just like this, don't forget to like, share, subscribe to Everything Give Me a Second on this YouTube channel. And don't forget to click the links below to watch other videos that are just like this.